Win FM.
Just want to agree to 90.9 Win FM and come to have on with AZARD. They're already inside the building. They're getting ready. So tune in, share the live. It's 98.9 Win FM. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on Win FM. Join AZARD GUMBS as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on Win FM 98.9.
Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem scandal is order. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM not a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and my mixery. This Labour punch right to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists all hard life crippling, we a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's with fake. Under these enemies of the state, AAG, can he get lawyer? He really a pamper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. I'm SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their other show.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another hard-hitting edition of Unfiltered. We are here to strip away the spin, the cover-ups, and the sugar-coated headlines to bring you the truth the Labour administration doesn't want you to hear. Tonight, we ask the bold but necessary question: has the Labour administration become the modern-day Robin Hoods in reverse, taking from the poor to feed themselves? While everyday citizens struggle to keep lights on, put food on the table, offering perks, and turning government into their own personal piggy bank. This isn't just mismanagement, it's betrayal of trust. And tonight, We are pulling out, we are pulling no punchings. It is unfiltered conversation. Let's get into it. This evening I have my guests, Kyle Flanders and Nubian Greer. Good evening, gentlemen. I do apologize. I'm the only one not wearing the yellow this evening. I had such a busy day, and so I never got the opportunity to, change. Usually I have on my yellow jacket. And so, you guys have outdo me today, this evening. Well done. The yellow is the code, and we understand that yellow brings positivity. It brings prosperity. Right. It brings a new era, a new vision. And the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is waiting for that golden sunshine to hit. Because under this administration, there is nothing but misery, nothing but struggle. And so, gentlemen, as I indicated in the introduction, we have a Labour administration, one that seemed to be taking from the poor more and more, and one that seemed to be living larger than life. They are, while some say or some thought that they elected representatives that would represent them in Parliament, represent them and their constituents, we understand that this administration feels as though they are kings and queens of our nation. They are living above the ordinary citizen and taking from the ordinary citizen. Over the almost 3 years, we have seen a decrease in social programs, a decrease in the number of houses distributed to the vulnerable. We have seen the rising cost of living. We have seen an increase in their travel and an increase in their salaries. Yet the average man and woman in St. Kitts and Nevis is getting less.
Well, that is what it is. I just saw a post on the weekend from Frasdan, and he's a staunch Labour supporter, or at least was. And he's crying out, and the persons around him are crying out, the people in constituency number 6. Everybody across the country is crying out. And, no administration is perfect, but it is the opinion of all that this Labour government is the worst government St. Kitts has ever seen in the history. They would go down in history for being the worst government, the worst administration that ever governed St. Kitts. As you say, they raised the salary, but medicine gone down 33%, rent gone down 33%, school fees, gasoline gone down 33%. What are they celebrating? And they are oblivious to what's going on the ground. They seems to be tone deaf to what's going on the ground. And so, as you rightly said, the People's Action Movement is the solution for this at this point in time.
And the thing is, right, we can, normally with talk shows and stuff, people want to try to spin. But these are objective facts that under this government, we have lost a lot of things. We have gotten less. They kept taking from 500 to 250. We used to get double salary straight, 1.5 to nothing at all.
In fact, double salary became the norm.
Became the norm.
People thought that to outdo the double salary on the team unity in which Pam was a part, you have to get a triple salary. Yes. You understand?
Yes.
People
Exactly.
thought that Labour will have come with something like triple salary. Because double salary in December became the norm.
Yes, it was.
The national debt going up, the economy going down. So they just keep taking. The only thing not going down, as we said before, is what? Their salary.
The only thing not going down.
Not going down. The only thing not going down.
And their travel.
And their salary.
Their travel has increased. They are traveling. Sometimes people say, what do you mean you can't have this meeting over Zoom? You know what I saw Mia Motley doing?
Oh, yes, I saw that one.
Mia Motley justified her travel, or the traveling of her government during the years. She said, this is how much we spent in travel, and this is how much we brought back to the people of Barbados in grants.
But hold on, I believe it is more than a justification, because I guess they could justify. Listen, they called us to Nigeria and we went. They called us to Washington DC and we went. Well, the gang was heading down to Peru and we went. They had a big meeting in Dubai and we went. What Mia Motley did was say, I am working for you. what I did, apart from sitting down and hearing and listening and participating in those meetings, this is what I brought back. I brought back $140 something million in free money for the people, not
the
for
receipts,
me,
man. She brought the
for
receipts.
the people. And I said it the other day on my show on Freedom FM, saying they go to all of these meetings and the only thing you hear is that we had meaningful discussions. And meaningful discussions after meaningful discussions after meaningful discussions. What have you brought back for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Listen, ex-out PAM people, ex-out PLP people, what have you brought back for the comrades? Nothing.
That's where they're crying out too.
Nothing at all. And this is something that there is no accountability. There is no accountability. They went, had meaningful discussions and come back and that's it.
Sometimes they,
and so we end.
sometimes they say they come back with MOU, memorandum of understanding, but yet they
Then
don't
you bring it by
understand.
name.
They don't understand to bring back something meaningful and tangible.
Yes.
You understand?
There is nothing, and you see it. And I'm guessing the grant that you spoke about is only one part of it. What about those same memorandum of understanding? What about contracts? What about, she just spoke about free money that she brought back. What about international relationship that she that she forged? When you look at it, when you look at what Mia Motley is doing, when you watch it even in Burkina Faso, what he's doing out there ain't nothing spectacular. He's just doing what he's being paid to do, serve the people.
Yes.
And because it's so strange, they were looking at it like, wow, somebody are actually doing this?
You know something? I think what's happening, right, is that these leaders are showing you what leadership is about. Look at Kamala, when she mentioned the whole thing about the allowances to parliament members and that kind of stuff. Look at like I just remember Mia Motley. Now, if you look at our Labour administration right now, they have an area there in charge of investment. So they keep going out, traveling, bringing back nothing. Because you realize that we end up with the Taiwanese. Every single thing, the Taiwanese. You could do that from home. You could make a call to the embassy and get that done.
Exactly.
Because if you only going to rely on the Taiwanese at the end of the day, where you going to go talk to Nigeria, talk about this, talk about that, where you going? And not bring back anything. Right? Me and Mark, there's a groundbreaking ceremony for some big thing down there from the African community. What going on with us?
Remember, they went to Nigeria, make a whole song and dance about it, about things that they're going to bring back this trade. After a few weeks, not about it. Nothing.
One news cycle and it's done.
It's like they only do it for the perks. They do it for the photo ops. You see the Prime Minister after coming back from Nigeria in all sort of attire. As though I don't understand. This man is so caught up with the superficial that he don't understand that he's a Prime Minister of a country whereby we are asking that he delivers on his promises and he brings home something for his people.
Anytime you leave, you must come back with something. Because if you're truly people focused, anytime a conversation is had, your first question should be, what is in it for the residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis? Otherwise, I'm going to bypass that.
I'm glad you made that point, because there was a colleague of mine, and person mentioned to me about what is your thought about this and that and this and that, and I said to them, my first thought is, how can the country benefit, and therefore how can the people of St. Kitts and Nevis benefit? And if those things aren't in the positive, then my thoughts are not towards anything of the like. You understand? Because it must be that anything that you're going to do or bring back or invest in must be to the benefit of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Case in point, imagine you gone Louisiana, talking to Tabasco, and they're saying, farmers can't be part of this. Right there done, Right there done.
Who is it for?
Exactly, done right there.
Who is it for? But you see, if you look at the history and the trajectory in which this administration going, poor people and the nation is never a part of the agenda.
Never.
When you look at the housing project, but let's get to some Trinidadians. You look at everything else that they're doing is always somebody else, not the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's not the priority. They don't go home and sit down and say, why, how could we put policies in place to better protect poor people? I'm going to take the bullet on this one. The economy is very, very slow, stagnant. Small businesses are closing down. And if you look at the size of our population and the amount of people struggling to get the 250 and the persons who are actually getting it, how much is it? 22,000?
23,000 was the last count.
23,000.
Boasting, They're boasting with that.
Yes.
Of a population of 50,000, almost half of that are your population on that program. And they have persons that have not gotten on. So it means that your whole country is struggling.
But
The worst
look at
part
it.
is the 50,000, after 23,000, of the 50,000 of our population, all of them in adults, all of them in working age.
Okay.
And the thing about it too, you can't trust this Labour administration, they do something that might seem to look good. And I'm going to show you.
Everything.
Show you how it is. And I'm going to start with you. I'm going to start with these things, because you have to bring your examples. They talk about a housing revolution. They say 2,400 homes. Look good, sound good, right?
Smart homes.
Smart homes. State-of-the-art homes. 2 years after, 3 years after, no home built. They tell you that the contractor basically give them a doggy. You understand? Give them a doggy. And so, nothing of that. Jeffrey Handley, the Deputy Prime Minister, left with nothing to show from that as the Minister of Housing. Look at it. They gave civil servants an increase. Look good, ain't it? Sound good, ain't it? And then, right after, gave themselves 33% increase. Look at the most recent thing. They march about GAE workers and pension, something that Pam in Team Unity discussed before, but never got to implement due to the history. We know what happened. After that happened, now they said to civil servants, they're going to revise the pension for them. So it's like they give something that sounds good, but they take away. You understand? They take away. And so we have a lot of civil servants now who are under pressure to accept something that they have not even thought out well enough to see how it affects them.
Because it's going to have serious ramifications. Because going back to what you said about the increase in salary, because for those civil servants who started working after May 18, 2012, the 8% is actually what? 5%, because 3% now must go towards your pension. So they're in a real thing. So you might don't say 8%, but why is 5%? 33%, nothing gone after that, because that's straight. That's straight, wholesale. But speaking of the pension plan, I mean, there's so many cons to that pension plan that we have to go into. Because they came on, you have to realize that when they're talking, they're not talking for the best interest of the people. It is not in the best interest of the people. It's always for themselves. Anytime anybody from HR, from government come talk, it's for the best interest of the government. What I've learned in the harshest way is that HR don't protect people, protect the company. They organize. That's what HR's job is. So anybody, if you think HR for you, think again. It's for the company. That's why when they got them out there talking, it ain't for us.
And you can't even go to the trade union, because the trade union is a subset of the Labour Party.
Which is unfortunate.
They control the match, they control the activities.
Yes.
So Labour, they belong to them.
They belong to them and not the workers.
Yeah.
So you understand the situation that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is facing, and that's why persons like you and I, we have to speak out. We have to continue to be the voice of those persons who cannot speak.
Okay, I'm a unionist. I love union. And I feel as though the civil service needs a real trade union. They need a union in the civil service. Otherwise, this thing they're trying to push just like that, without even telling anybody anything. They consulting after the fact. They're forcing it down your throat, telling you got by June 30th to sign away. What you don't even know, you got to crunch numbers, you got to look at your mortgage, you got to look at so many things.
You have to look at so many, and that's the thing, is the timing. They don't even give the persons the opportunity to digest what they are shoving down their throats. You understand? And so it's like a big stick. Take this or else. You understand? I remember when it was first being discussed in the civil service, and an individual sent it to me. They said, "What is this? Look at what the government is doing." They don't. The person didn't even more or less got the opportunity to really dissect, but they are told by end of month they got to sign on to this IS.
The teachers didn't have a big...
That's who, hey, y'all don't mess with teachers out there, because we keep in this country here going on the red path. Teachers had to stand up in discuss because of the nonsense they're trying to push on them. Right? So if you want to, we've got you some of the cons of this pension plan, if you want to. All right, the first thing I understood was that You have to wait until you're 62
Yes.
to get any pension at all. Wait until you're 62. Prior, 50, you retire before your 50th birthday. When you're 50, you get the money right one time. So you would understand that in the old pension plan, people were planning ahead. I can work to 15 years. I work to 24 years.
Right.
Because they know if they go beyond, it's a reduced pension. And so, you could have juggle. Right?
Yes.
But this time now, imagine you want to jump out of the civil service at 15 years, 20 years. You get to wait until 62 to even touch the pension there.
Wow.
Right? And then Social Security coming in at 62, so you got to wait until when you going to enjoy the money really truly. Right? Because you're 62, social threatening to go up higher. So if they go up higher to 65, what happens then?
We have a caller. Sorry, Kyle, hold that point. Caller,
Right.
you're live. Go ahead, caller. Hello.
My radio broadcasting friend,
Yes.
gentleman who part of spreading the truth and keep feet should be to the fire, that should be to the fire.
Yes. Go
Um,
ahead.
Right now, I'm ready to ask a question. Brother Azar,
Yes.
don't think that I am after you on you. But the question is, I have a problem with the CBI and how it was going.
Yes.
Okay. A question. It is alleged that it could be all the lawyers' incentives
Mm-hmm.
who sold CBI passports. And the reason why I asked the question, if you were elected, I was a part of selling. When I'm saying you, I don't mean you directly. I'm speaking in general to all, whether you are lawyers or doctors. If this situation was meant to be good for the Federation of St. Kitts, and knowing that you hear something is gone wrong, and we all know something gone wrong, would it be your business to inquire what is going on?
Yes, I mean anybody who cares about the integrity of the
Right.
of the CBI and integrity of the country
Okay.
would want to know what is
Is
going on
there-
if everything is being said.
Do you know of anyone who had any sellers of the CBI passport of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis
You mean attorneys? Who,
have any concern of such to say something gone wrong? I smell something is going wrong. I heard something is going wrong. And to try to shed some light, because this is not you. You enter into it with integrity, and you want to stay with integrity.
yes, Carlo.
Now, I'm holding feet to the fire, because if such a thing never happened, I am holding all who sold the CBI passport feet to the fire, because something is wrong. And one cannot be accountable, all. So
Okay.
what say you in such thing? I mean,
Well, for me, the process. I mean, everything would. There is allegations of corruption. There is talks. I've heard the talks. I'm just watching for it to be played out. I mean, there's legal action being taken, if not here, elsewhere, and so I am watching to see what is happening.
we all know that. What I'm trying to get at is, I haven't heard of all the muck
Yes.
that surround this matter. I haven't heard any seller of the passport or sellers of the passport spoke out to find out what is going on. And I think they should have get to the bottom line and inquire, and should be given to them. You can't just sell, and
Okay,
making
Carl.
your commission.
So I understand what you're saying, and I get your point. We will have to conclude this call to get to continue the discussion. But I get your point that you're saying that persons who are involved in the CBI by whatever means, if they hear that there is some sort of allegation of corruption, should make the necessary investigation. Thank you so much for your call, caller, and sharing your view. So, Kyle, you were talking about the pension, that this government is forcing the change, that this government is forcing in through the throats of the people. Could you continue on that point?
And that's a good word to use, forcing, because nobody really asks for it, right? Nobody asks for it. And now you're telling me that in the prior dispensation, it was 50% of your salary you get annually as a pension.
Yes.
Now it's 40. So that math sound like for the people. Does that math sound like it's for the people? I think not. Then you're telling me that you have to opt in. And if you opt in, persons who are working, who were employed before 2012, you have an option to opt in, because sometimes you're working and you may want to a little extra 2 or 3 years. I don't want full 7 really and truly, right? You may want extra 2 3 years right here and say, okay, give me some extra few years. But once you opt in, you gotta wait out until to maximize everything. You have to go until the full.
And they make it seem as though it's a benefit, because when I heard it, they made it seem as though, well, you don't have to ask for a year or continually write in, because it's be guaranteed to you. So they're trying to sell this thing after they have already forced it down your throat, because either you take it or not at a time.
Because the reason why people have to write in, because it was a case-by-case basis. Not everybody going to have the same situation. So you take it case by case. She mentioned that, PSCs and whatnot. So, political victimization again. So they may actually tell you, no, you can't come back. We need to get rid of that nonsense in civics politics. If you are rational for it, look at this. Instead of me opting into the full up to 62, why not give us terms? Okay, first 2 years, first 3 years, whatever, you opt in, opt out until you start up yourself. That would even help us a little better, right? Now they're saying that if you don't opt in, you can't, don't even bother waiting for the years. If you refuse to opt in, that's it for you. Whether you want a year or two after, don't even bother, right? Because you did not opt into our brand new pension scheme that gives us less money at the end of the time. Reduce disposable income for the workers. Because you tell me beforehand, we never had to contribute. But now, 3%. So a question I want to know is if the GAE have to contribute 3% also. Because if your salary is already a certain size, 3% could hit you kind of hard. Because that could be a regressive tax for you as a worker, your disposable income dropping. So how is it beneficial to anybody? And what I don't appreciate about this whole debate around it is the way the government is being so disingenuous about the whole thing. Because if you oppose it for any reason as a civil servant, they're going to say, oh, you want the GAE, them getting a pension. You don't want them. That's how we go.
What they're doing is invoking emotion in something that is supposed to be a debate.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they're doing, they're invoking all sorts of emotion into this. So persons are clouded by emotion rather than being driven by reason. And they're doing the tactic of divide and rule. Divide civil servants against GAE workers. No one is saying that GAE workers should not be pensionable.
Exactly.
By saying that they have now made civil servants in a less favorable position, we're saying that should not be.
Yeah.
And so don't muddy the waters, don't muddy it.
But that is what they always do. We just deflect and distract all the time and giving you less at the end of the day. And the administration is supposed to be entrusted to make your life better. But as everybody knows, Labour just making everybody else's life harder.
And I was reading some of the amendments, and some of the verbiage in those amendments so tricky. Right, you make it up to this. You might like these kind of things, meaning that
That's
there are
exactly what
loopholes
it is.
for you not to get what belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm questioning now. Imagine I finished school at 19, gone to work. You want to have to dedicate 40 years to the government to get full benefit in my pension? 40 years? A full 40 years. When before I could have jumped off at 15, 25, 33, 30, whichever one, you had options, you plan accordingly. Now they're saying a full 40 years. So what happens to the young people now? If all these older folks are working up to 62, what happens to the young people who want to move up in the government?
They have not clearly thought through anything. And it would take a people's action movement-led government
Yes.
to change the destructive path that Labour has been on. And I mean, no one is celebrating with Labour.
That's true.
Persons are so dissatisfied by their performance that they wish election was tomorrow. They are so unpopular at this time that they themselves can't even attract a crowd to events that they normally would attract crowds. They had a convention last week. It's as though they spent money on the structure, but when it came to the program, it was lackluster. The same speech, the same rhetoric, nothing new. And by now, persons are turned off by hearing them. You look at the number of persons who were tuning at the time, and at the time, usually when it's a convention and these kind of things, and the Labour Party traditionally would have a lot of persons locked in, logged on.
Right.
Not getting the same traction. Not the same traction.
It's not.
People are bored because what they're saying is that it's the same nursery rhyme. The Prime Minister says over and over again. You can, throughout his own speeches, you could determine what he's going to say. He's going to say something soon come. He's going to talk about team unity. He's going to talk about smart, this smart, that sustainable, this sustainable, that, and nothing working. So you're hearing all of this rhetoric, these empty promises, and you, the listener, you're disgusted and turned off.
Don't forget, he might so too.
Because you know all that he's talking, all that he's saying does not come into fruition.
I remember last year, November, December, or probably a bit earlier, he said that we would get the housing started before December, before the end of the year, before the new year. Houses gone. Where that they're gone. The hospital, yes, we done got the land, we done got the money, we done got the contractors, we done get the designs. Where that there be?
You know, I was very
All
laughable.
they're doing is just clearing the land, it go back up. Clear the land again, it go
And one
back
has
up.
to ask, who is being paid to clear the land? Who is being paid? One has to ask these questions.
See much that they're just waiting for Lily Rain to fall and it go up and somebody say, well, we're going to play it again.
And
Yeah,
then
we're
we
gonna
have
play it again.
the way we have all sort of videos about the Kim Collins
I was just going to mention
Athletic
that.
Stadium.
I was going to mention.
King Collins Athletic Stadium. I can't even get a break now. Fake pages tagging me to the video them. And I said to myself, look at it.
Yeah.
I had to speak, I had to do a video for them to make some progress on it.
Yeah.
So I am hoping by next year, the athletes are able to use the stadium throughout the year, that the athletes are able to use that stadium to train. Because had it not been for me and persons who criticize this government, they would have been beer still.
The biggest joke I got from that was that when Drew was talking on his press conference, talking about Kim Collins, Drew said, he wants his incompetence, so he said, we have to take our time. We have to make sure everything was lined up. Take your time, we're going to come good. Sheer incompetence, we know that.
Yes.
Samuel him said the rainfall. He said that when under the sitting, they didn't expect. He don't give away the plan. It was no brilliance, Mr. Drew. It was not treating chess. It was nothing. It was sheer incompetence.
And I mean, Kyle, we have to know that because of all the ministers, Duggins is the most incompetent of them all.
I believe a bunch of them fighting for last, to be honest. There's a competition, well, this month, who can come last? And while Dougie sit down on the side and just smile.
But
And send out a little morning post.
The telling sign that somebody last, dead last. Because you try the best to prop him up. You try.
Drew helps
Yeah,
him
Drew
in
try.
anything. You any little thing, Drew there trying because Drew already understands that Duggins is the weakest minister he has.
And 4 is so important. So he can't afford to lose 4, but he got the wrong person down there. So he
He
trying.
doesn't even have someone from down there who resides down there.
That's true.
But how much of them actually live in the constituency which they serve? That is very, very important.
How many of them moved out after being elected?
Well, you see, that's what happened after you don't get in that position. You run in from the people because you promise them so much of things. Like the same thing they promised them the 15 and then cut it down, give them 250 now.
It's a big drop, boy.
Exactly. And so people come ask you, well, what about the thing you promised me last month?
They don't want that.
And so it's so much people coming that you can't deal with it. You can't sleep good at night time, so
And-
you move out.
And what we are saying is that the People's Action Movement is the answer for progress, is the answer for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And just last week, there was no Unfiltered because we had our national delegates caucus,
Right.
something that we hold annually. And so we had the election of officers, and so, we had a full house. Persons came to hear the party's business, and persons came to vote. And so the People's Action Movement maintains a rigorous, and it's always turning, the wheels are always turning, and officers can't rest on their laurels because every year you're up again for re-election or election. You understand? And so you always have to make sure that you're doing the people's work. You understand?
But probably before, even though so much people watched, would have heard afterwards, probably you could tell the population,
And so the
elected representative.
Yes, and so these persons would serve as the new executive after June 1st. So June 1st is when we have our convention. So next week, Sunday, there will be no Unfiltered because we'll have our massive convention at party headquarters. It starts at 2 p.m. And so those persons who were elected last week are going to serve as the new executive come June 1st. And so we have the deputy political leaders, myself and Lincoln Pell, re-elected, uncontested. We have the chairman returned, uncontested, Sheldon Pemberton. We have a new deputy chair, Mrs. Carleen Henry Morton. We have a new assistant general secretary, Miss Shermel Drew. We have a new treasurer, by the name of Mrs. Joanna Marsham Wilkins. And we have returning in the office of PRO, Laverne Keynes. And so all of us would be placed as a new executive for the 2025-2026, in addition to our political leader, Mrs. Natasha Gray Brooks, and our General Secretary, Siobhan Phipps Harding. And so at the party's convention next week, 2 p.m. starting time, at party headquarters, we're going to have our massive convention. And of course, the People's Action Movement continues to attract people, continue to attract persons who are like-minded, persons who are ready to serve. And the theme for this year's convention is Legacy and Leadership, Resilient and Ready. And it's going to be featuring our political leader, Mrs. Natasha Gray Brooks, and our guest speaker is going to be none other than Miss Jacobs. So Miss Jacobs served as the Prime Minister of St. Martin. And so she's a former Prime Minister, a woman who has been in office, a woman who has been in the public service for a number of years. And so we are going to hear from her as to, based on the theme, legacy, leadership, resilience, and being ready to serve. In addition to that, we are going to have the announcement of two candidates coming from the constituencies, constituency number 2 and constituency number 4. The candidates for that constituency will be announced for the very first time. And so persons are invited to our convention, whereby the candidates for 2 and 4 will be announced. Talking about candidates for 2 and 4, we already had a statement published by the former candidate, Jonell Powell, and he made a statement on the 23rd of May 2025, and this statement says, it says, after having been entrusted with the confidence of my party, the People's Action Movement, to be its candidate for constituency number 2, and thereby afforded the opportunity to serve the good people of Central Bastille for the past 12 years, I have informed my political leader, Mrs. Natasha Shannon Gray Brooks, of my decision not to contest the next general election constitutionally due by 2027. During the last 12 years, I have had the pleasure of leading the most fantastic team in the PAM Central Bastille constituency group as we effected meaningful change for the deserving people of Constituency 2, both inside and outside of government. The highlight of my tenure, without doubt, was my election in 2020 by the people of Central Bastille to represent them in our national parliament as their member of parliament, sorry. This was truly a humbling experience which I took seriously and executed to the best of my abilities during the most difficult period in modern history, the COVID-19 pandemic. I look back on the 12 years with pride, as the successes were not mine, but really those of the residents of Central Bastille, from Irish Town in the south to Shadwell and New Road in the north. During this period, we saw the refurbishment of the Gardens housing complex, including the construction of a dedicated sewage treatment plant, the refurbishment of the Gardens playing field and pavilion, the start of much needed repairs to the Irish Town Primary School, improvements made to the Dorset Park, the refurbishment of the New Road Family Park, street lights for the residents of Shadwell and Pine Gardens, the construction and allocation of some 38 homes in Pine Gardens to families in Central Bastille, the allocation of over 30 residential and commercial land lots to residents of Central Bastille, and the creation of permanent as well as contract employment for constituents, just to name a few. I brought to the fore the issue of the rampant abandoned lots within the constituency and the need for urban revitalization. I introduced the vision and concept of the Irish Town Bay Road boardwalk and commercial zone. He goes on to say, this is not a goodbye, as I remain steadfast in my support of my political party, the People's Action Movement, and its leadership. My support to return Central Bastille to the fold of PAM is guaranteed. I remain available to PAM whenever and however I am needed. I have had the privilege of gaining invaluable life, professional, governmental, and political experience. I am grateful to the People's Action Movement for affording me the opportunity to serve. Thank you to my hard-working constituency group and all the supporters who had and continue to have my back. To the constituents of Central Bastille, I say a special thank you for your votes, your support, and the opportunity to serve you. I remain committed to the residents of Central Bastille to stand with them and for them. At the age of 42, JP2 is by no means done. Signed, Jonel Powell. So that was the statement issued by Jonel Powell, the former candidate representative for Central Bastille. And so the convention is going to be next week Sunday from 2 p.m. Of course, you could log on to our party page. There are going to be other media houses that would carry, so you have to look out for the information. And of course, we will share the information as we get it and as we finalize. It's going to be a convention of no other. And I say to persons that the People's Action Movement is growing from strength to strength. Under the leadership of Natasha Shani Gray Books, we have seen now the People's Action Movement gaining root, gaining momentum, trending. Many persons are talking about what is happening in the People's Action Movement. And come next week, Sunday, there will be 2 new candidates to join her team to continue the work of the people. Because we need persons who are servant leaders, not persons who once they have been elected, they are nowhere to be seen. They are nowhere that you can see them, hear them, or even engage with them. I'm told we have a caller. Caller? Caller?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can.
I did not finish my commentary, but I am the caller who called first. I didn't finish my commentary.
Know. But could you?
Try to.
Could you? I know we don't have much time, so could you?
I know. I just want to get this out there.
Yes.
I just want to get this out. I need all those political leaders who are planning to continue in this upcoming election to cancel out, because I know their names. And I don't need them to be in this mix because they have failed the country. And I'm not ready to call names yet. I'm waiting for something. But I'm saying this. Let honest people come into this mix. We don't want thieves and thieves and potential. Because all who should have called out wrong, they did not do it. And it's not secret anymore. Because I still call them. But I'm not going to call them now. So I just need this to get to each and every one's ears. That they are cancelled by me. I'm not going to say who I am. Who know my voice will know my voice when it's due time.
Okay,
So
thank you so much, Carlos.
Who is clean, stay in. And who is dirty, stay out. Because it will be embarrassing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Just to journalism has said that he's out of the running for the next election. So let me just under General Powell, we saw a lot of progress. A lot of things happened under the portfolio that he held. Under education, for example, Sean would have started some of it, but General took the baton and continued forward. For example, professionalizing the teaching profession. Under the community administration led by Sean, the education under Sean and then General, you saw teachers who got the opportunity to get their master's degrees in various disciplines in education at a fraction of the cost they would have cost them before. You saw Mr. Hodja as the PS trying to implement just this whole idea of making teaching a professional profession, so that when you come, you actually had a path, a career path. You can see, okay, I can start as a substitute. These are the paths that I can take to end up to being a principal or whatever. Today, you can't even know how certain things are done.
Creating real opportunities.
Exactly. Under sports, you saw, I think we had more CPL games when Jonel was the sport minister than any other. Like CPL was real kicking under Jonel. A lot of different cricket was just rampant in St. Kitts, right? And under Sean and Jonel. So he left his mark, left his legacy, and even the ideas he had going forward, the whole developing number 2, even the boardwalk idea was something I would have loved to have seen come to fruition. In comparing him to who is there now in terms of sports and education and in terms of, urban development.
Yes.
Like, these people can't hold a candle to what he did or the ideas he had. I mean, you never see inter-school cancel yet, right? Never see it cancel yet. In the school still kicking. You never see children going to school with the hair in a certain way, right? The discipline and everything went through the door under Jeffrey Hanley, right? Teachers just chop there and say, well, they ain't care, we ain't care either. Right, so education kind of, again, labor taken away from people. Education went backwards under this administration instead of going forward. So, Janelle, kudos to you. Your legacy will live on.
We have a caller. Caller. Okay. So, yes, so we thank Janelle Powell for what he has done for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and what he has done, his contribution to the People's Action Movement, serving in various capacities. I know that he served in various capacities. I'm told we have another caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Go ahead, caller.
Good night, Mr. Gums.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I just have a question for Nubian.
Yes.
My question for Nubian is, Nubian, do you know how General Powell won his seat in Central Bastia?
There was a general election, a democratic process, and the people came out and voted for him. I don't see him winning any other way outside of that.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something. We get paid. We get paid to put on shot, and we get paid to go up on stage, and we get paid to walk around with Janel in Central Bastia. That's how Janel won his seat in Central Bastia. So I understand that you join in Pam for Central Bastia. But let me tell you something. Everybody say, oh, Nubian is a man in the city. Nubian is a man in the ghetto. He walk or he do things. Nubian, that can't work. That the last day you tried that with PLP, it work and it will work again this time. Unless Pam don't give you money to bring in Central Bastia, you cannot win your seat in Central Bastia, my brother. So please to leave it alone. Thank you very much.
Wait, caller, before you go, caller. Can I ask you a question? Caller? Because I was just about to ask the caller, how did Marsha Henderson win Central Bastille? Because if he's making the proposition, the argument that Janelle Powell won Central Bastille by money being given to people, then how did Marsha Henderson win? Is he saying that she would have had to do the same thing? Is he saying that other persons who contest and are victorious had to pay money?
That's what it sounds like to me.
But obviously, he said it. But he said it. He said, if Pam ain't gonna give out money in Central, leave it alone because you need money to win.
And
you
so
need money, not money to win. You need money to give out to win.
So based on what he has said, and I really wanted him to stay on the line, because then I had the question as to how did Marsha Henderson win that constituency? You understand?
They probably had money to give out.
Perhaps.
We go without saying that those views are nowhere part of anything we're discussing here. I don't know where that crazy thing come from.
You know, let me just, he talks about money being paid. I believe the next election, if Labour pays money or any political party pays money, I don't even think money is going to be an issue. That's what I'm saying.
Nah.
I think that things are so hard that whoever money is given up, people are going to take and vote on their conscience.
Listen,
Because
who gave
the
out more
economy
money
is
than the Labour
bad.
administration in 2015?
We have another caller. Caller, you're live and unfiltered.
Yes. Thank you again. I'll try to get in as much as I can.
But caller,
Because
wait.
I have a lot on my plate.
Okay, caller.
No.
There might be other callers.
No, I'm not. I'm
And you might because we're taking your call, there might have been another caller, and so you have to be mindful of that as well. So if there are things that you want to speak on, and go ahead and
Yes,
speak
yes.
and give a highlight.
I'm not.
You have
I'm
about
not bashing anything.
you have
All
about
I'm saying,
you have about a minute, caller. Caller, you have a minute.
I'm going to take 30 seconds.
Okay,
30
great.
seconds.
Yes.
All the political parties, according to that guy, I'm not going to buy his story.
Mhm.
But if there are any exchange of money for this election to buy votes for favor, that is condemned. And eyes are in the skies, eagles are watching, birds are watching, hummingbird are watching. No party should try to bribe anyone with any money. Go in with your heart, be oneself. Let the people make up their mind and not the love of money, because it's not benefiting them. I condemn that, and most people who have a heart like I, they will condemn that too. That is domestic treason. That is the sell of your vote is just like selling out your country. Please don't do that, else you will be in great trouble. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And
caller.
let me just say, I really don't appreciate what that call is insinuating, the previous caller, sorry, because
Yes.
this is not what this show is about. We're not devolving into those kind of...
Listen, right? You gotta understand, and I understand it completely. You gotta understand what the caller just attempted to do. He attempted to deflect and distract. That's all. Somebody call him, say, hey, Nick, I need you to call you to say this. And the fact that we're here discussing it,
Yeah, I must work with you. You're right. You're right.
nonsense.
More substantial things here.
Yeah.
And someone on the Facebook said that just said elections can be bought. So I don't know if it's a philosophy for the Labour Party for this money and this, but we're about keeping our promise,
As
and
I
we're
said.
about principled decisions and principled approaches.
How much money did Labour spend in 2015 election and still lost?
Mm-hmm.
Because
were
people
fed
was
up.
just over it.
Yeah, people were fed up.
So, money ain't an issue. Money ain't gonna be an issue in the next coming the upcoming election, because you can take $500 or you can take $1,000 and starve for the next 5 years.
And imagine if they had one term in office, right? One term in office, and things are so bad now. Imagine a second term.
Look,
God forbid a third term.
No, but
By the time we're finished, they ain't gonna say
You know-
percent
you know,
because we know it.
we are just above Haiti. Haiti, in economic growth. Just it ain't miss it. That is what's published.
And we all know what is happening in
St.
Haiti.
Kitts was always in the top 5. All the time. And right now we are just above Haiti. In the space of 3 years, the Labour administration has brought St. Kitts to its knees. In the space of 3 years. When you say, oh God forbid if they get a second term, we ain't even going to survive this to reach to the general election. It doesn't matter the amount of money you're going to give poor people in the hand, because if you even give them $1,000 or let's say $2,000 by month end of $2,000 done, and then you're going to starve for the next 4 years and 11 months.
Let's be honest. When we're talking about money and whatnot, the economy is going nowhere. The only monies that are going to influence the next election is the money we're losing from the 500 to the 250 that you took away from the people.
Yes.
The bus fees gone up. That going to be considered. You a big increase in your salary. That's the money we're going to be considering. So all the money keep taking out of people's pocket.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to put on the ballot next election. Because people crying out, people bawling. The IMF says straight up, if we continue how we are going right now, by 2030, we're going to be 71% GDP ratio.
Yeah.
You got the economy less than 60. That's when you got it in your hand, less than 60. And where you're going right now, we're going to reach up to 70, above the regional average. They're trying their best to keep it under 60, all the Caribbean countries. We're going up to 70. And you know what the biggest problem is, Sebi? Government expenditure. They keep spending money, and we ain't seeing no returns at all. So all them trips, all them advisors, all them other people are hiring for no reason whatsoever. And the world has ballooned out of this world.
They even have persons who are employed by government, but they have sent them home to twiddle their thumbs just because they feel that these individuals did not support them.
Exactly.
And so they are being paid. And these persons want to work. They want to utilize their mind. But because of victimization, we have persons home. When you look at the PS, Jasmine Warner Weeks, home, qualified, and it is just so unfortunate that an administration that was elected to serve the people treat people like this.
In my own personal experience in agriculture, I could tell you straight up, these people dismantle an entire unit. People making 6,000 a month, 7,000 a month, just doing nothing, just doing nothing in a corner because what? They supported the previous administration. Dismantle a unit. Brought people on 62, 63, you give them 10,000 a month, plus pensions, all of this thing, to run what? So these people wasting government money, wasting the money. That's why we in the economic bind that we are in. And you still come back with nothing to show for it. No investments, no nothing. And IMF balling say, Lord man, sort out the financial issue in St. Kitts because we're going to be in dire straits just now. Everybody else is better than us. We all want the envy of the region.
Yeah, when you see that other countries beating us in the CBI,
Yeah.
when you see them economic growth beating us, you'd think it was once on the top escalator, sir.
Sometime last week there was I don't know if it was a private jet they got, and a whole delegation went to Cuba just for a day. Now, Cuba, when it comes to agriculture, because you just mentioned agriculture, Cuba is one of the top producers in the Caribbean, and there is so much things that we could learn and so much things that we could get from Cuba to assist us in our agricultural production, in setting up our farmers in so much different ways. And you went up there just for a day to do what? A little 24-hour vacation? Go there, spend a week, or send people there who could come back with something that you could hand over to the farmers, so you could justify the reason why you took a private jet and went to Cuba with a whole delegation. And send people out there to bring back things for us.
And that is the thing. When you look at who goes, and when you look at, you have a prime minister with no experience in finance. You have a cabinet with little experience or no experience in finance. You would expect that the advisors of the government will be ones who are financially knowledgeable. You will be buttressed and supported by persons who have a financial background, because you want to bring in persons in areas that you lack.
Exactly.
Instead, it is party loyalists, persons who perhaps would have ensured that the Prime Minister we have now was in the seat that he is now in terms of the leadership of the party. Instead of qualified individuals who bring something to the table. You understand? And so when you look at the wage bill that you're talking about, they're not hiring persons based on merit. They are victimizing persons, putting in persons, it's like, what you call it? Square pegs in round holes.
The IMF said production is low.
Big time. Let me give you some example, just what you say, Azad. You just remind me there. So you're saying that was one of the biggest issues I had when I studied whole so-called A-team. Not one of them know anything about business, finance, or economics. Not one. Who ain't doctor of geography or something, engineer, they don't know anything. And just an example from agriculture. See what some of these people do? They look in the budget book. Say, okay, I see a position there. What, 38K? So you get what, 6,500 a month? Okay, you want that? Where they qualify or not? They say, here, take it. I've seen them appointed persons in the position of assistant secretary in agriculture who has no idea about agriculture. None whatsoever. So how are you supposed to solve in agriculture? I've seen agriculture planners being appointed. These people, they went online, did some online universities. What they're saying, they went, did a little ashwater or whatever, they appointed as agricultural planner. Getting the big money, but what are they going to contribute to the sector? So this is just a microcosm of the bigger picture in the government. They put in persons in places that they cannot contribute. The Prime Minister is a doctor, a medical doctor. Something where they hear me pretend to know economics. They just laugh. Like, what are you talking about? Pretend about agriculture, about what you say, landscapers and agriculture farmers are the same. What you know about them things there? Let somebody who know what is going on surround yourself with. It's like a Trump administration again. Maybe Trump took off of them. Just put people in the cabinet in nothing, no clue about what's going on. And it's very disheartening. And that's why we are in dire straits right now. You can't revive the CPF here and nobody about economics and finance. You can't go look for investment. Dougie going out there, we're talking about investment. That's what you better ask. When they're in negotiation, what are they be saying? When people use the jargon and the words, what, they're going over your head? What are they be saying?
I think that I actually think when they're at these meetings and they hear special words, buzzwords, they write it down. Let's see what this means, and we're going to use it when we come back. We're going to hype up the crowd. So they're like sustainable island states. So the Prime Minister heard that wherever he heard it, he brought it back, and every speech, sustainable island state, when we haven't even had under his leadership reliable electricity.
Nothing sustainable.
Reliable water.
Not sustainable, current not sustainable, food not sustainable because the import bill going up. Nothing is sustainable. So how they get these things married? Sustainable island state, and nothing is actually what they are doing is not sustainable. The country going downhill fast. Sustain what? What are you using money later on? They're gonna be the whole ocean of debt when they come. So this whole buzzwords I just say, like trying them round, like food security, and we're gonna give you pepper to eat. Like, what is this about? They're lost.
We got so much youth, so much youngsters around that we could bring to agriculture. I don't know if we still, I know for a number of years we wasn't producing enough eggs here in St. Kitts. And well, even due to the mere fact that we have the St. Vincent boat and the Dominica boat coming to St. Kitts selling provisions and they are being sold, we empty the boat when the boat comes. It means that we are not producing enough. We got so much youngsters and so much youths out there. Why we don't provide opportunities for them in the agriculture sector? That's one. How come we don't go out and get them grants that only me and Martin know where the grant can be? It's like the fisherman, only one fisherman know where to catch fish. But you could go out, get these grants. So they get a partial grant and a partial loan, and they could set up their farm, set it up in a decent way, and start production. And give them that assistance that they need so they could get these real opportunities to change their life. And at the same time, you bolster food production in St. Kitts. But none of that is going on. Nothing I just say just buzzwords. Oh, diversification. What does diversification means? How have you diversified our economy? How have you diversified anything? When it comes to providing opportunities for the residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, they have done nothing.
But it's a legacy of labor. The legacy of labor, because under Dougie labor, when the sugarcane industry closed, that was a monoculture. Sugarcane was a monoculture. What did they do? Tell everybody go into tourism. So another monoculture. That's why when the least shock out there affect us, things just start going downhill fast. COVID, we are almost dead. When they had a couple of murders down there at Brimstone, robbery at Brimstone Hill, and the boat them said they ain't coming. The economy almost collapsed because they went and put all the eggs in one basket again. They don't understand what the word diversify means. Why would they shut down the industry?
And the thing about it, you have this prime minister who says that he's going to diversify the economy. He's going to do all of these things. He says it one time, it sounds good, weeks pass, and you see no movement on that. You see no movement on that. It's like it gone out his head. And you're wondering how many things are in his head at the same time. Because once he says it, it's like, poof, it gone. He ain't come back to it until it's time to speak again. And then he brings it up as if he has brought it up for the first time. But we have heard it about 20,000 times. You understand? And now the Prime Minister has some sort of podcast.
Ah, wow. I saw that. Oh, that was cringe. Wow.
And one has to ask,
Man.
doesn't he already have numerous occasions in which he speaks?
Wow.
A podcast?
Man, like his
So
own
now
voice.
he's coming to be a host of a program that... And I say to myself, well, at least it gives us some content, because sometimes you're wondering, what is he saying? What is he saying?
Yeah, I understand
have-
everything for everybody.
You have round table. And as a matter of fact, in that position, you never see Dougie try to do it. You never see Tim try to do it. You never see Simmons try to do it, because your actions should be
They were
speaking
natural.
for you.
They were natural for you.
Your actions, your performance should be speaking for you. So if you can always be on the air to justify your existence, then you should not be there.
And he says the same thing
Over and over again.
over and over again.
But you know what I don't appreciate? This might be just a myth thing, right? What I don't appreciate, right? Many of that's a part of the game. But I don't like when they use persons in a less fortunate position as a prop. I hate it. Couple times ago on Facebook, carding home. Every minute they want to go, you see them take a picture of them giving them food and this kind of thing. Using the same way with GAE on the podcast. Like as a prop. Like no, you can't give people some dignity and things. Like, you're supposed to do it consistently. That's what you're supposed to do. When you want a photo up, because when you got a photo up at the carding home, next video you see, more and this and that and terror, like different news items come and show you how really problematic that place is. But these photo apps just to make you look a certain way. You see, candidates put on gabs and everything to go say here like a generator, drink water and all that. Like this performative.
And then by tomorrow the electricity off.
Well, you see, prior to them, and I keep saying it, prior to all of them, prior to them seeking political office, they were never in the constituency. They was never out there giving back. They were never out there doing anything meaningful for community
That is
sake,
true.
for love of the constituency sake, for love of the community. They was doing nothing. They were absent. They were not there. And
Like
so
they-
now
like they are
they
now.
want to take a picture, and because they're not doing anything at all anywhere, the easiest thing to do is take a picture cleaning up somebody's yard.
That's it.
Take a picture up in the carding home. Take a picture there and take a picture there. Ask them for the pictures them 5 years before. They wanted to pursue political office. Where were they? 10 years before, where were they? 15 years before, where were they? They were never, ever, ever there, because this wasn't the life that they wanted. Somebody to say, hey, there's an opportunity here. Yeah, let's
That
go.
was a performance.
And then they're gone.
I remember a time, this one year kind of ingrained in me. A time I went football. I think Village and somebody was playing. So, people, Sam was always into football and that kind of thing.
Right.
You watch Canvas, Canvas ain't into no sports. So when he was trying to run for office, he went to one of the match, them goal score. Canvas run grass, yeah. People were like, I'm gonna sit down by, where you come from?
Yeah.
You look so out there, like, you're not accustomed to be here.
I'm telling you.
It's always performative,
Yes,
photo up. That's it. And there's no substance at all.
And you're so right. You are so correct. Because I saw a few of them the last general election coming up in the park and walking around just before the election. And I said to myself, I've never seen you in the park.
Never.
I seldomly miss one of Spurs games. And sometimes go to the park to watch other teams to see how they're playing. But they don't be there because it is of no interest or no consequence to them what the team doing in the community. But if they need a photo, then I go in them, they go take a picture. Let me see if I buy a case of drinks and give the fellas them. So at least when I come take a picture, nobody don't stone me. And that's what it is. As you say, it's just a performance all the time. Where is the genuine love for your community? Where is the genuine love for the football team?
Exactly.
Where is the genuine love for the team or the community? Where is it? What about the book clubs? What about the tennis clubs? What about the netball clubs?
We have a phone call. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Yes, my brothers.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I have listened to you all, and I am not against none of you gentlemen who are conducting this show.
Yes.
But I know you call out wrong when it's wrong, and you characterize people when they are not posing a good character and dignity. Well, this is dignity speaking here. I represent dignity. And I'm going to tell you something. Neither PLP nor People's Action Movement going to win all 8 seats. This seat going to be a shared government. AZARD, I will prefer you to win your seat. Because I'm going to win mine. And I will like to work with you. Okay? But I think, as my advice to you all, is to tell the Federation, the people, what you all have to offer. Trickle down to the 3-year-old child so that they could understand. Okay? We all know what the past and the previous administration have done. We all know. Who don't know now, they don't want to know, and they don't care. Because these people are not listening. Okay? They are not paying attention. So my advice to you and your crew and your party and those who are rallying for you guys, People's Action Movement, is to make an offer to what you all promised. We are ready to fight against the buying of votes, and we need integrity into this matter moving forward. Okay? So, I don't need one party to win all seats. And I'm going to reiterate that. So, Brother AZARD,
Yes.
you are the only one I favor in camp. And it might be number 7, Lincoln Tell. The rest, I don't have a full heart of these people. So I will cease my continuance now, and I allow other people to come in. Thank you for allowing me. Bye for now.
Thank you for your contribution. Yes. Anything that you guys like to add? We were talking about the failings of this Labour administration, the ministers who don't care. The Prime Minister who says the same thing over and over, regardless where he goes, same buzzwords, no all talk and no action.
What I would say is particular to that caller just now is that if you listen every week, you hear a lot of what we think about, the ideas that we're putting forward coming out. Whether we have to put it in a manifesto yet, right? But you see what we are against, so you know exactly what we stand for. Right? There are things that we just don't believe in, and we voice them because we don't believe in them. And so you could easily say that, if they come in, this is the stance they're going to take. Right? This might be we believe in the traveling. What are we traveling for? Right? We say it can be done in other ways, Zoom and everything. We know you could share it out, you don't have to be the minister, it could be assistant secretary, a PSY, you could spread it out. We understand that there are things that can be done. We look at food security, we know that agriculture is a key pillar in driving any economy.
Right.
That's why we're always on top of it, because we know that for a fact. We know diversification is something we need. Most of all, you know that we put people first. We believe in people. That's why we complain so much about the hardship people are facing today. We don't believe in it. We don't believe in taking from the people, like this government does. Keep taking. We believe in and you saw it in the previous administration. Because how many social programs were there? Even way back, even in the original PAM. That's why the convention, the theme is so appropriate, legacy. Because even Labour today is building on the legacy of PAM, People's Action Movement. Look at tourism, even though she kind of dropping the bar, but still, we left a legacy there. Sports, legacy. Education, legacy. Everybody want to emulate our early childhood, even our nursing that we had up there, everybody want to emulate those things. We have a legacy, and People's Action Movement was the one who started all of these things. Right? So, understand different parties, different philosophies. The philosophy of PAM is to empower. So, no buying and nothing. The buying, we empower. You lift, we get you up, we help you up, not hand out. And so, that's the kind of thing that we stand for. And when you listen to what we're saying here, you know that that's the angles that we are willing to take.
Yes. And so I want to remind persons that our convention is next week, Sunday. It's going to be held at party headquarters. It is our annual convention, and of course, Ms. Jacobs, who's the former Prime Minister of St. Martin, is going to be the featured speaker. Our political leader, Natasha Shanigre Brooks, will be there. She will give her address. You will hear from the new candidates of the People's Action Movement in constituencies 2 and 4 as they are going to be announced. And I'm sure that you would also hear of the plans of these individuals when announced. And I could assure persons that after convention, we are going to take it up a gear, meaning the People's Action Movement is going to take it up a gear, because we will be further in completing the slate of candidates. I know last year, persons, and even up to now, persons have been asking about who the candidates are in these constituencies. And so that will be given next Sunday. I must say that, in constituency number 4, over the last week, we had the funeral for T. Marsham. Her funeral was held last week. It was held at the Rivers Church. Of course, families in Old Road, families in Middle Island, Virchas, constituency 4 and the like, so many persons were touched. It really was a sad occasion. T was just 29 when she passed, and of course she has been laid to rest. I want to also give my condolences to the family and loved ones. Of course, the GUMBS and the Mashams, we are related, and so I was there at the funeral, and I did give my support to the family, as I do to all the families who have lost loved ones in my constituency number 4. Just yesterday, we had a candlelight service for Miss Freeman. Miss Freeman, 17-year-old young girl who attended the Virtuous High School. She passed. And so there was a candlelight service held at the Virtuous High School just yesterday, Saturday. And the number of persons who walked in solidarity and support of the family who lost that loved one was amazing. It was a moment. It was an incredibly sad occasion, but to see the love and support, it was touching, because you see the community come together, and it was just in like a sense of, we know we are here, we empathize with you, and we give you our support. And so it was not, you could see the father, you could see the mother, you could see the family, they are in tears. And of course, no mother, no father, no family member would expect that a child of that age would pass. And so they are grieving, rightfully so. And it brought in my mind, sometimes when you're looking at these families and persons who are lost loved ones, condolences, expressions of condolences is hardly ever enough. it is presence and support in these times that matter most.
Right.
And so the funeral service for Miss Freeman will be on Wednesday. It's going to be on Wednesday. It's at the Antioch Baptist Church. And so those persons who can come out, I encourage you to come out and show support to the family who have lost loved ones. In my constituency as well, there is the domino competition tournament that I have held for the first time, but not the last time. And I want to thank those persons who come out. The crowd is amazing every night that the games are held. It started on the 17th of May. It's going to conclude on June 24th. It's on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So for Tuesday and Thursday, it starts at 7. For Sunday, it starts earlier, 5 p.m. In fact, before I came to this show, I was there because I'm there every night, you know, just to talk with the persons. You get a sense of how persons are feeling. Just today, I was talking to a business owner who was there about the business that they have, and you know, that person felt a lack of support from those persons who have been elected to serve. And you hear people complain about the economy, the lack of presence of the current representative, and so I mean, so many things are happening, so many things are going on, and more than ever, you know that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, they're waiting for a People's Action Movement-led government to take them out of this wilderness. It is a sad time in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis, and people are praying that the Pharaoh that they have elected will let the people go. You can't even say his people, because a Pharaoh would treat his people better. We, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, have not been treated well under this administration, under this Prime Minister, who is going down in history as the worst Prime Minister
Most definitely.
that we've had. And so you see talks about Prime Minister all the time. And this Prime Minister will be going down as one of the worst Prime Ministers we have had. And so I want to thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the show, being a part of the program. I want to remind persons there will be no Unfiltered next week, Sunday, because we're going to have our convention, our massive convention. And so I want to thank those of you who came and listened this evening and continue to support this show. Of course, we'll continue to keep this administration accountable. We'll continue to be the voice of the voiceless, because someone has to do it. So we shall do it. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening, and see you when, after convention, I'm sure we're going to have some good news.
Were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the views and opinions expressed in this program were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WinFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists all hard life crippling, we a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's with fake. Under these enemies of the state, AAG, and he get lawyer. He really a pamper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4 law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. On SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join AZARD GUMBS as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.